All right, we are continuing to follow severe weather, tracking storms in our area. How's it looking, Chris?
Well, tornado watch until 10 o'clock. Right now, just severe thunderstorm warnings, but some of these storms are showing signs of rotation, and we could have tornado warnings most any moment. So kind of borderline severe thunderstorms moving through right now. New tornado watch, it looks like, just popped up on our screen here. That one's going to include the rest of the viewing area.
Yeah, I just clicked it off, so you're good.
Yeah, how long is this watch for? Mikhail, Riley, Hill, and I are all here, and new watch there. But yeah, that'll be coming up on your screen here in just a moment. Sorry, I was seeing it behind the scenes and forgot that you could not see it. But yeah, tornado watch until 10 a.m. for the Metro Augusta area back to the west, but where the yellow is flashing there, that tornado watch does go until 2 o'clock this afternoon. And that includes, looks like Barnwell, Bamberg County, and up into Aiken and Edgefield County as well. So it looks like this could go into the early afternoon hours. As far as warnings in place, where severe weather is actually occurring right now, we do have severe thunderstorm warning until 6:30 for Burke County. As we head off to the east, western Aiken County, Columbia County into Richmond County, severe thunderstorm warning until 6:45. Southern Jefferson County down into Johnson and Emmanuel County, that severe thunderstorm warning for straight line winds over 60 miles per hour is until 6:30. As we take a look at our temperatures, a lot of warm weather out there to deal with. 70 degrees, the current temperature, the average high 71. So definitely very, very warm out there. This bow shape to this thunderstorm here, that one is of concern there. And we are talking about storm track there, headed through the Augusta area about 6:18 or so. So a lot of windy conditions about to move through the Augusta area. Beach Island down about 6:30 and into Jackson just after 6:30. New Ellington, this has been holding together for a couple of hours, so you're going to get some rough weather. Looks like about 6:45 or so, maybe 7 o'clock at the latest. As we head down to the south, this severe thunderstorm warning until 6:45. It does include Swainsboro. That storm, the worst of it, will head into Swainsboro in about 20 minutes or so, into Millen in about a half hour, and into Twin City about 6:53. So you've got about 35 to 40 minutes before this severe thunderstorm heads into your area. As we pan out on the radar here, again, just tracking these severe thunderstorms. Right now, just straight line winds over 60 miles per hour, but that will knock down some trees. And judging by the bow returns on our radar, definitely some windy conditions there. A lot of heavy rain falling in Louisville, but it looks like the windiest weather has just about moved through your area. As we pan out on the radar, this is all part of a cold front that will be passing on through the area. So once we get through, really about 11 o'clock, this should be exiting the CSRA. There will be a cold front coming on through, and we are going to be cooler as we start your work week. Here it is hour by hour on our computer model. By 11 o'clock, that worst weather moving out the CSRA. And at that point, I think we will have the...
They're about to issue a warning. They just put it out for Augusta, the NWS chat. So we're actively in a warning for Richmond County, Aiken County right now.
Okay, breaking news here, tornado warning. Has it been issued yet, or?
It has been issued.
Okay, tornado warning until what time, Mikhail?
Let me get the stats on that really quick. It just came out. Let's see here.
Let me get back to the radar here.
Until 6:45 a.m. Yeah.
So for about 30 minutes here.
I'm going to go get Chief.
All right. Pardon us while we kind of get our act together here. We're going to transition into wall-to-wall coverage. Our policy is when tornado warnings are issued, we do cover them until they expire.
Gotcha.
So,
well, I know that our viewers are appreciating that, Chris. So again, this is going to be very fluid with the weather, and so you guys are definitely staying on top of it.
Yeah, Chris, me and you are going to tag team on air. Riley's going to stay on Facebook. So me and you driving the boat on TV for right now.
Here we go. We'll get us a query here to give you this visually anyway as we start. And
yeah, just to while Chris is getting that radar up, just to name a few cities here that could be impacted by this. It's saying Minnick Park, Riverside Village at Hammond's Ferry, Hillcrest Memorial Park, Hopeland Gardens, New Savannah Bluff Lock and Dam Park, Glen Hills, Burnett Town, Westover, the Kroc Center, and Miles Park, just to name a few areas. This is radar indicated. This storm is moving northeast at 45 miles an hour, and it is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, which has now caused this tornado warning that we're in right now.
All right, it looks like, Mikkel, we are frozen. Max 1
Okay.
has frozen
Scott,
on
can
us.
you pull up Max 3 on air? Or actually, can we do 2? Because Riley's on 3 on Facebook. Can we do 2? We have 2 up on air. So this is what we're looking at right now while we're getting our other weather computer back online. This main cell pushing through the heart of Augusta right now and pushing towards Aiken. So this is where we'll have the highest threat of a tornado right now. And again, this warning goes until 6:45 a.m. For portions of Richmond County, Aiken County, including places like Murphy's Estates, which you can see. This also includes SRP Park, just to name a few local areas out there. But again, this is going until 6:45 a.m. So can we get the wall popped up with Max 2, Scott? Just let me know whenever that's up. But we are tracking this very closely as it is moving through Bobby Jones Expressway right now. So areas inside of that definitely being heavily impacted, and also along that. Let's switch over to velocity here. Just noticing some broad rotation, it looks like, with this system. So at least we're not seeing very strong indications of rotation right now, but definitely could change. And with that warning being out, definitely has our attention pretty closely. Not noticing any kind of debris signature here, looking at correlation coefficient, but outside of that, really just watching this closely as it continues to evolve here for the next approximately 20-25 minutes, unless they cancel that warning before then. But we do have to stay with this until they do let it go. So we're definitely going to do that in terms of keeping you guys updated with that latest information as it comes out and becomes available to us. But again, we're tracking this cell right here, pushing through the heart of Augusta right now, Richmond County, about to cross over into that South Carolina border. So areas along I-20 as you're heading from Richmond County, Augusta, near exit 1 into North Augusta right now. So Murphy's Estates, SRP Park, trying to name some of those populated places out there, the city of North Augusta, Hammond Hill area, all right now under the gun. And if you are in this warning, you should be seeking shelter right now. So we're encouraging you to get down to the lowest level of your home. I know we're in South Carolina and Georgia, so basements are not plentiful around here, but the idea is to get as low as possible and to put as many walls in between you and outside. So that is what you need to be doing right now if you are in this tornado warning. So thank you, Chris, for zooming in here. You can see areas around the Gracewood area just north of Hepzibah, and also looking at this, again, just riding that 520 corridor, about to cross over towards Beach Island as well. It includes places like Spiderweb, Jackson as well, all under the gun, Graniteville, Warrenville, all those smaller cities inside of Aiken County once you cross over that border towards South Carolina from Georgia. So this is going until 6:45 a.m., and as long as they don't cancel it, we'll definitely continue to stay with it. And Chris is drawing out something just to time it here for us, a little cone.
Yeah, it looks like this storm will be headed into Beach Island in the next 8 to 10 minutes. So it is moving quickly. The line advancing east at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. This does show a very strong curvature here south of in southern Richmond County, right around Bobby Jones Freeway. And headed east, it'll cross the river into Beach Island, Spiderweb community, about 6:30, 6:45. Just a reminder here, as far as what to do when there's a tornado warning for your area, you want to get to the lowest floor. Most importantly, stay away from windows, because objects can come flying through windows, and that's when you're in the most dangerous position. And you also want to be on the lower floor of your home. And if you live out ahead of this storm and you happen to live in a mobile home, try to find a sturdy shelter that you can go to, maybe a family member, a friend who does live in a house. Maybe you can dash on over to their house. Again, you don't want to do this in the middle of the storm, but if you do live out ahead of it, across portions of Aiken County and into really into eastern and central Aiken County, you may want to do that. But again, this warning does go for
until 6:45.
Until 6:45, a tornado warning for Richmond County, Aiken County. It does include the Augusta area. It is for mainly southern Richmond County areas in the path. May have already cleared east of the Gracewood area.
Yes.
Looks like it probably has. Yeah, this is really starting to show up nicely on as a hook echo. Where you see the green meeting the red there and that kind of curvature toward the bottom of the screen. Also some rotation up there into Columbia County being indicated by our radar.
Right.
But right there we have that little S pattern to the right of the word Gracewood there if you're watching your screen or if you're listening perhaps from your safe place. If that safe place is in Beach Island, again, you have about 5 to 10 minutes before this storm does move through the area. Right now it is a radar indicated storm. We don't have ground proof knowledge that the storm is there. We don't have a debris signature or anything like that. So that is some good news. Now, again, we are a long way from the radar, so debris really has to get lofted very high before a debris signature shows up on radar in the Augusta area. But definitely a radar indicated tornado, and it is moving east at 35 miles per hour. It'll be crossing over into South Carolina probably momentarily if it hasn't already, because this particular product we're looking at here only updates every few minutes. And with the storm moving on to the east, it's actually out ahead of where it may even be on your screen here. Also, that severe thunderstorm warning continues down to the south into Waynesboro. Pretty good bow echo there in southwestern Burt County. That'll move into northern Jenkins County. And 60-mile-per-hour winds associated with that. That warning goes for about 20 more minutes until 6:45. But the one we're most concerned with right now is that tornado warning for mainly Richmond County, and it's about to be crossing over into Aiken County. Here's a live view from, I believe, our downtown camera.
Yeah, that's actually Max 3 you're looking at, so that's not what we're looking at.
Oh,
here.
okay. I'm seeing a behind-the-scenes computer here,
going on,
not the on-air computer.
Could you help me just by switching it in between velocity, correlation coefficient, and reflectivity? So we're looking at radar right now, and you can see just this Boeing segment moving over into Aiken County. There's a couple of notches in here. You can also see some rotation being picked up in different areas. And the thing right now this morning with our setup is that these tornadoes can spin up very quickly. They're probably going to be rain wrapped as well. Of course, it's nighttime as well. It's 6:25 in the morning, so it's hard to see anything. And if you're under a tornado warning or even a severe thunderstorm warning this morning, you need to be seeking shelter right now and get into your safe place, because even these severe thunderstorm warnings have the tag tornado possible. So you need to treat that as a active tornado warning, even if you're not under one, which the only active tornado warning we have right now is in Richmond County and Aiken County. But again, all those other severe thunderstorm warnings do have the tag tornado possible, so you may as well treat it as a tornado warning. But you can see rotation being picked up in different areas. We're switching back and forth in between different meteorological parameters we can use to have an idea of what we're looking at and if there's actually a tornado on the ground. So just looking at reflectivity right now, you can see some very heavy rain, and that's definitely helping to mix down some of those gustier winds that we have aloft in our upper level jet. So with that, that is how we're able to likely see 60-mile-an-hour, maybe even more gusts mixing down with this system. Chris, can we look at velocity really quickly? Just taking a look at potential rotation. So we're looking at the green indicating air going towards the radar. This is from Columbia right now, and then air going quickly away from the radar with that red. So as Chris said, we're still a good distance away from the radar, but close enough to tell just some broad areas of rotation right here, pretty much where you see this icon right here, this meso icon indicating some rotating air. So that would be just north of Augusta, even outside of this warning, but also within the warning, just different pockets of rotation along this line that has those bowed segments and notches from those increased gusts causing it to behave that way. So again, this could spin up really quickly, likely rain wrapped. Of course, it's very dark outside. The sun has not risen, so we can't see anything. And if you're underneath this tornado warning especially, you should be watching this from your safe place, hopefully following us on Facebook. We do have Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale on Facebook right now giving you guys the latest updates there digitally in case anyone loses power or anything like that. But Chris is pulling up this severe thunderstorm warning you can see right here in Burke County. So that goes until 6:30 a.m. And again, all these severe thunderstorm warnings also have the tag tornado possible. Small hail possible as well, but that tornado possible tag is what really has us concerned. Also, most of these are producing those gusts around 60 miles an hour. But just important to make sure you are in your safe place. And looking at the path of this storm, it's going to continue to move towards places in western Aiken County. So in between Murphy's Estates, which is not included in that actual tornado warning, but is underneath that severe thunderstorm warning. And you can see this trying to build a little bit further northward towards Edgefield. So as these cells continue to move east this morning, they're likely going to continue to enter into a more ripe environment for this severe threat to continue. Hence why we have that tornado watch in effect until 2 p.m. for some of our southern and eastern counties right now. All the CSRA is underneath the tornado watch as well. For those of us not included in that one that goes until 2 p.m., it goes until 10 a.m. for this morning. Chris is doing the storm track on here right now, and you can see places like Clearwater, Aiken can see that. Clearwater, you can see it just before 6:30. Aiken looking like around 6:38. Couchton and Windsor in between that 6:43 to 6:48 window. Williston at about 6:52 in Barnwell County. In Barnwell, this could be rolling through right around 7 a.m. So within the next 30 minutes, a lot of cities that could see impact from this system. And even if you're not in that tornado warning, again, the severe thunderstorm warning has that tag tornado possible. So you want to treat it as a tornado warning and make sure you're getting to your safe place. Chris, we can swap out so I can drive for you a little bit and get you up there at the wall. And I'll look at the NWS chat, see if they're talking about anything. So just got an update. It says tornadic circulation is moving across the Savannah River and into Aiken County. No reports of a tornado at this time, but Bushfield has gusted to 41 knots.
Yeah, and that bow you see there in the middle of the screen, that is a larger scale bow. That's why we have the severe thunderstorm warning that does include Aiken County and really mostly Aiken County at this point. Looks like the severe weather has crossed over the river. So Richmond County, you're in the clear as far as this tornado warning is concerned that I can tell. It has crossed over into South Carolina. The hook part of this that could be possibly producing that tornado they're seeing on radar is right about there. So if you live in Clearwater, it may miss you just to the south. But again, in Clearwater, you want to be in your safe place away from windows on the bottom floor of your home and not watching me on TV, but maybe listening to us on TV from your safe place as that tornado warning does continue. Again, Richmond County, looks like you're in the clear for the severe weather. It has now crossed over into Aiken County. This tornadic thunderstorm here looks like that comma echo there right in the middle of that red polygon. That's where this rotation is, and it is moving pretty much, it looked like on the reflectivity there, very close to Beach Island and headed off to the east. Hopefully it's going to miss you to the south there of Burnett Town and probably south of Aiken as well. So the southern half of Aiken County is where this storm is. As far as if you're not affected right now by the severe weather, the tornado watch is for all of us until at least 10 o'clock, and farther east in the Barnwell and Allendale County, it has now been extended until 2 o'clock, although I have a feeling it will clear your area well before 2 o'clock. It's going to be late morning, I think, before these storms actually get out of our area. And right here, that red rectangle polygon there, that is your tornado warning that does go for, what was it, till 6:45.
And it's interesting with this because I definitely see this up here, which indicates some rotation, but you can see the icon even outside the warning. So just really important if you're watching this right now, even if you're not underneath a tornado warning, but you have a severe thunderstorm warning, these severe thunderstorms this morning are capable of producing tornadoes. So you don't need necessarily a tornado warning to be seeking shelter. And wow, look at that, Chris. As I'm pointing that out, we got
new tornado warning. Is that
right there? Yes. This is going to include portions of Edgefield County now, also northern Aiken County. So that signature right there just caught my attention because it definitely indicates some pretty tight rotation. A couplet is what we would call that, with that air moving quickly towards the radar. And I'll kind of hop back up on the wall really quickly to point out what I'm talking about. This is moving right over Murphy's Estates right now. So you can see just this bright spike in velocity here, that air moving away from the radar and then also moving towards it as well. That rotation icon right behind it, likely will update here as we continue to get those in. But step out the way here, and that's until 7 a.m. So again, we do have to stay with this until this does expire. And right now, this new tornadic warning is in effect until 7 a.m. So damaging winds up to 60 miles an hour with this, and small hail possible. But the greatest threat, of course, is that possibility of a tornado right now. So this is crossing over the Highway 25 connector in between Rainbow Falls and Murphy's Estate. Just to the south of that right now, this is U.S. State Road 25. So I know a lot of people from Edgefield County that always talk about Highway 25. So definitely a familiar place right there for those of you that live in Edgefield County especially, but also Aiken County. And this is going to continue to the north and east here, impacting places like Rainbow Falls, Vaucluse, 6 Points, and Balltown in between the next 20 minutes. It looks like 6:41 for Rainbow Falls. By about 6:55, we'll see this moving towards Balltown. But we're still watching another tornado warning as Chris is circling this also just south of that. So 2 areas of rotation, 2 tornado warnings in between Edgefield, Richmond, and Aiken County right now. And we're going to have to stick with this again until these are allowed to expire. Chris, could you switch over to correlation coefficient? Let's take a look at some of those areas just to make sure. And is that an extension of a tornado warning or another one that was just issued right now? As I see another alert popping up on the screen here.
Let's check it now.
Yeah, it should. So it looks like they just trimmed that into Aiken County. So they just trimmed that warning into Aiken County right now. So as Chris was mentioning, for that cell that was impacting Richmond County, thankfully, our tornadic threat in Richmond County has ended. So this is moving east of Augusta. We're looking at correlation coefficient here to see if we see any kind of non-meteorological things being picked up on radar, which would indicate debris being lofted into our atmosphere. At least right here, we don't see anything, and that's good. And Chris, if you could slide a little bit further north towards that other warning and look at correlation coefficient near Murphy's Estates, just to make sure.
Yeah, that rotation is much more impressive, I think.
And this is what we call a couplet, where you saw that green and red tight together, air moving towards and away from the radar. Thankfully, though, not looking at a evident tornadic debris signature here. So as long as we can keep it this way, definitely would be some good signs for us. And of course, we're still waiting for ground truth. Sometimes radar may miss, that debris being lofted if it's not lofted high enough, because how our radar works is that beam, it starts off as low as it can be near the radar site, and as it travels away, that beam is elevating with height. So this is the Columbia radar that we're looking at, and sometimes it can overshoot that. We do have our Harlem radar as well, which I'll try to get a look at here shortly, which does provide some of those lowest and accurate scans. So actually, Chris, I'll let you step back up at the wall. I'll pull up our Harlem radar so we can get a better look at some of those lower level scans and see if any of this rotation is making it to the ground and possibly causing a tornado at this time.
And if you can get the text for the times and the locations of those up on the screen,
yes,
we can do that. But we do have our tornado warning to the north. One of those goes until 7 o'clock. The one to the north on your screen here, and the one near Murphy Estates up to the north, that one traveling, there's the red next to green. That's what we look for on the radar, where the winds are blowing away and toward opposite directions right next to each other, and that's a sign that we are seeing rotation. Now on radar here, what we're seeing is actually several thousand feet up in the air, because the radar can't see all the way down to the ground. But we do have our own local radar here that does scan closer to the ground, but we are seeing the rotation. We are not seeing evidence of debris from this tornado as well. So that would be some good news, but it's at least radar indicated. That does include portions of Edgefield and Aiken County. That warning does. Farther down to the south, the portion for Georgia has been canceled. Looks like, at least for the Augusta area, Columbia County, Richmond County are now in the clear, more than likely for severe weather, as this line has crossed over into Aiken County and into Edgefield County in South Carolina. One tornado warning for Aiken County does go until 6:45, so about 8 to 9 more minutes. Up to the north, it does last until 7 o'clock.
And the good thing here, Chris, is this is our Harlem radar, so I'm not noticing any signs of debris signature with these lowest scans. Definitely some indications of maybe hail right there, unless it's just a spike. But definitely could be some small hail with this, up to about 3/4 of an inch in diameter. So definitely watching out for that. Winds up to 60. And I'll switch back over to reflectivity, try to call out.
And what you're seeing here, what we're able to give you here that other sources can't, is a low-level scan into the storm because we have the area's only dual-pole radar right here in the Augusta area. So we're looking a few hundred feet up into the air. If we see rotation, if we see debris on this radar, it is a sure sign you have a tornado. And we are not seeing that right now. So that is good news. Right now, it is just indicated in some low levels that we are seeing circulation. We just don't have evidence that there is indeed a tornado. Nonetheless, the conditions are ripe. There is a rotating thunderstorm, and that's why we do have the tornado warning in effect until 6:45 for Aiken County. Much of Aiken County farther to the south, farther to the north into Edgefield County. Right there on that Aiken-Edgefield County border is where we have that actually stronger rotation that has now moved past Murphy Estates. Putting a storm track on this, it is moving. Well, it went by you. Hopefully you saw that for you there.
There you go.
But this storm system moves into Williston in about 14 minutes, into Aiken pretty much imminently. So moving into Aiken, gusty winds 60 miles per hour or higher are going to be very possible. Very likely, as a matter of fact, with the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for that area. It is a radar indicated storm, Aiken, Edgefield County until 7 o'clock. That's the one outlined in white here, the one farther to the south. Hopefully we'll be able to expire here in about 6 or 7 minutes, but it's still looking pretty impressive. I imagine they'll keep the severe thunderstorm warning out for that. But again, wind is wind. It doesn't matter what you call it. If it's knocking down trees and you have trees around your house, that is definitely a danger, a threat to you. So again, just because it's not a tornado warning for your area, or just because we're telling you there may not be a tornado, doesn't mean things are safe out there. Look at the right here as it comes up. See that kind of bow shape there on the radar. That happens when the wind, the cold air out of the top of the thunderstorm, comes pouring down to the ground. And that's where our severe weather wind comes from. It's also faster winds coming down to cloud level. And that's why that part of the storm moves a little faster than the parts of it north and south, and that gives it that bow shape where that part of the storm is moving faster than the rest of the storm is. There's a look at that tornado warning until 7 o'clock. Hail threat this morning pretty low, but again, right there into the Aiken area, you're about to get hit hard with some really heavy rain, and you're more than likely seeing some very, very windy conditions out there right now. So definitely take cover. Be away from your windows, as we learned a few months ago from Helene. Falling trees, definitely a hazard, so get away from the windows just in case one of those trees outside was to fall, and make sure you're safe. Basically, treat the severe thunderstorm warning the way you would a tornado warning, and get away from the windows toward the middle of your house, especially if you do live somewhere where there are large trees outside your home. Worst weather is now past Edgefield, North Augusta, just about in the clear for severe weather here. So we're talking about more toward the Aiken area. This will be moving toward Wagner in the next probably half hour or so. Ward Community 648, and hopefully this will all be out of our area, this particular storm, in the next 45 minutes or so, and then things behind that are looking a lot calmer. This is going to be our main event for the severe weather. So once we get through this burst of bad weather we're having now, things back across the river in Georgia have improved a lot, with the exception of down to the south in Burt County, Emmanuel County, and Jenkins County. That's where the line kind of slopes from northeast to southwest. So we're getting the early part of the storm right now, but as you go down to the south, it will be later in the morning before it does move on through. But as you can see right there, there's Augusta. The worst part now across the river, there's North Augusta. It looks like things are wrapping up there in terms of bad weather. And most of your worst wind is ahead of where you see the heavy rain there, not necessarily in the middle of the heavy rain. So it's right out here in front of things that you're seeing those 60-mile-per-hour winds, where the updrafts and the thunderstorms come crashing down as damaging wind. And that's exactly where the severe weather comes from. So places like Wagner down to Williston, Barnwell in the next 30 to 45 minutes. It looks like you're going to get some very, very windy conditions. And remember, even without a thunderstorm, It is definitely very windy out there. We've had wind gusts over 30 miles per hour. I'm trying to get out of the way of the thing here. 7 o'clock. This moves into Barnwell, Williston about 6:52. So 18 more minutes or so, this line of severe thunderstorms will be moving into Barnwell. Looks like that severe thunderstorm warning has actually been extended over there into Barnwell County. Here's a look at your sustained winds versus wind gusts. Again, there was a 41 mile per hour wind gust at Augusta Regional Airport as that line came through. Now we're back to really what it was before the storms came through, about 25 to 30. And it will be kind of windy. They had a peak wind gust of 47 at Augusta Regional Airport. I assume that probably occurred as that severe line came across Bush Field. Barnwell 28, but these 40 to 50 mile per hour winds are headed your way in the next 15 to 20 minutes. And within that pocket of thunderstorms, there are the wind gusts over 60. And it looks like we have another severe thunderstorm warning. I presume that one will probably be until 7:30. It's probably going to include Barnwell County.
Yes, and this does include Barnwell County right now.
As well as Aiken, right?
Looks like this goes until 7:15. They're extending this from Burke County, so that portion of the line that is still working through Burke County. So the thing about this system is that it has a couple of frames of motion. A lot of this stuff is moving from the south to north, but the entire system is gradually moving towards the east. So there also is a low-level flood threat that could be with this. Right now, we're not seeing any flood advisories, but if you live in a flood-prone area, definitely could pick up a quick inch or two here with this, with these storms passing through, producing heavy rainfall. This storm has been working through Burke County since before 6 a.m. it looks like, and here we are coming up on 7. So these aren't moving as fast as we would like to get this threat out of here as quickly as possible. And that could also present more hazards in the way of heavy rainfall, leading to some isolated flooding issues. But definitely seeing this new severe warning again going until about 7:15 a.m. We do have Riley Hail live on Facebook as well, so definitely another way to tune in if you can't stay close to your TV and you have to get to your safe place, which you should be doing if you are in any of these areas that have active tornado warnings right now. I'll see that clicker real quick. So we're looking here at Aiken County. This warning did include Augusta, Richmond County, but it's now been trimmed just to Aiken County. You can see here until about 6:45. And then we're looking at some areas here that could see those impacts. Possibly, let me see here, I forgot this is max 2. There we go. Could see some areas here like Windsor, Kitchings Mill within the next 15 minutes that could see impacts from this tornado warning moving towards your area. And then also as we shift a little bit further to the north, we do have another warning in effect right now for portions of Edgefield and Aiken County as well. So definitely looking at multiple warnings across the area right now, and just a pretty active situation for us that we're looking at in terms of what could be going on. I'm going to take over just real quick on Max 2, Chris, and try to get to the other warning. And it looks like they just let go of that Aiken warning, so some good trends there. This is the other warning I was trying to show you for Aiken and Edgefield, though. So northern parts of Aiken County still under the gun right now in terms of watching out for more impacts from severe weather, and in particular that tornado warning that is ongoing right now. Still looking at some broad rotation right now. Definitely not as impressive as what it was a couple of scans ago. If I back this up, you can definitely see at this point about 6:37, we saw a much better rotation here near Murphy's Estates, but starting to fall apart just a bit. Still some green near that red. We don't like to see that. And also looking at a very broad couplet here, still moving towards Aiken. So they did let that warning go, but I'm sure if that rotation maybe strengthens or tightens back up, we could see another tornado warning issued here. So we'll at least be on the air until about 7 a.m. with this warning that is still ongoing in portions of Aiken County and Edgefield right now. So this is just moving past Murphy's Estates and entering or riding along that border, of Aiken and Edgefield County. So we're looking at South Carolina State Road 19 right there. So just riding right across that, just north of I-20 right now is where that threat would be for a tornado at this time. So I'm going to switch over to correlation coefficient just to make sure that we don't see any of that debris signature activity going on, which right now doesn't look like we see anything. We would be looking for a circular blue ball that's blue because that indicates non-meteorological debris, which thankfully we don't see right now. What we see here is possibly some hail and also rain, where you see all that red. So good trends right there, but definitely still an active tornado warning. And again, even if you're not included in that tornado warning, but you're underneath a severe thunderstorm warning, most of these warnings this morning have had that tag tornado possible. So you want to treat it as a possible tornado warning, even though it is a severe thunderstorm warning, and still get to your safe place, which is as low as possible in your home. I know many of us don't have basements, so just that lower level of your home, if you have a 2-story or multiple story home, and underneath a stairwell in a bathroom with no windows. The idea is to get away from windows and put as many walls in between you and outdoors as possible. But we are looking at just a mess right here moving through Aiken and Edgefield County, which includes this tornado warning. And what's dangerous about this situation, not only is it while people could still be sleeping before sunrise, but we're also talking about a rain-wrapped tornado. So even if you, which I don't encourage looking out the window, you cannot see this though coming. It'll just spin up and pop up on you, which this system has a history of producing that since way back in Mississippi, Louisiana yesterday. A lot of embedded tornadoes in a mess of heavy rainfall. The heavy rainfall is also helping some of those stronger winds aloft mix down. So even if we never get a confirmed tornado, which is what we're praying for with this situation, definitely could still see some reports of thunderstorm wind damage if those gusts can get over 50 miles an hour. Bushfield saw a gust up to 47 so far this morning, and we actually saw sensors in Louisville and Jefferson County go out as storms passed through this morning. So I do anticipate at least a severe thunderstorm wind gust report somewhere in the CSRA, but unfortunately we could see multiple. But definitely looking at heavy rainfall accompanying this, so still a low-level flood threat with this as well, that wind threat. Hail is definitely not as high of a threat, but small hail definitely has been possible this morning. We have seen some pretty impressive hail spikes on radar and correlation coefficient. And right now, the biggest thing that we're watching is this tornado warning for Aiken and Edgefield County, which goes until 7 a.m. So we have to stay on the air just to keep everyone as up to date as possible with this situation, since it is actively happening and it's an active threat to life. People's lives right now are in danger if you are in that tornado warning especially, but also if you are in a severe thunderstorm warning underneath one that has that tag tornado possible. So you could definitely tell this bowing in this line, and it really goes all the way down through Burke County. This part of the line here has been really cranking up and just been consistently producing these strong winds and a very impressive radar signature for about the last hour or two, since again it moved through Jefferson County and caused those sensors to go out. We also still have a decent amount of rainfall behind this initial wave of strong to severe storms, so still some rain to get through for this morning. And again, watching out for that low-level flood threat even once we do get through the severe threat for our counties until that rain does clear, which could last for some of our southern counties until the early afternoon. So Chris has timed out that other dangerous portion of this line that has that severe thunderstorm warning with the tag tornado possible. Heads up places like Sardis, you're under the gun right now. In less than 5 minutes, this is going to be impacting your area. Millhaven, Sylvania, within about the next 5 to, or I would say the next 10 to 15, you guys will see impacts there. Barnwell, Fairfax, and Hampton. Barnwell around 7:22, Fairfax and Hampton after 7:30 in Allendale County and Hampton County. Expecting to see some of those impacts moving your way. So still some weather to get through for this morning, and definitely concerned about this bowing that we continue to see. That is just wind pushing forward in the thunderstorm, causing that bow on radar. That is how we know that there could be some destructive winds on the leading edge of these storms as they enter your area. So Ridge Spring, Monetta right now, likely very loud thunder, lightning, and some extremely heavy rainfall, torrential rainfall at this time. Could be seeing rain rates over 1 inch per hour easily, where you see this red color indicated on radar. So again, still watching out for that low-level flood risk. Could we look at velocity, Chris, just to take a check on the rotation in this tornado warning, see if it's improved at all, or if we're seeing some trends of maybe weakening in that rotation, and definitely still see some red next to green, which is what we don't want to see, but it's a lot broader right now. So that red would indicate air moving away from the Columbia radar, and also green moving towards. You can see, though, around Aiken, definitely still a pretty impressive couplet here with that rotation being indicated with that air moving towards the radar. Green it and away. And you can also see an icon just south of that, so indicating some radar indicated rotation. So definitely still a very fluid situation, a developing situation. I would say if you have seen this line push east of you, your severe threat is pretty much over, and you'll just be dealing with some of that lingering rainfall. So we're talking about areas really west of Aiken, west of Edgefield, mainly our Georgia counties, north of I-20 and just along. That severe threat is starting to wrap up. But Burke County still under the gun right now. Areas south right now definitely still having that active tornado threat. Chris, do you see any updates on the National Weather Service? I think I have it up on my computer just to see if they said anything.
Yeah.
And I can, here you go, get the clicker, drive for you. Let's see here. Checking on the National Weather Service website. 6:51, watching several areas of possible rotation across the CSRA embedded with a broken line of showers and thunderstorms. This line will continue to move northeast deeper into the Midlands of South Carolina. So the National Weather Service in Columbia actively watching those same areas of rotation that we're showing you right now. So not just us, but them as well. And they are the ones that issue these warnings. So definitely going to keep an eye on that, Chris.
Yeah, and it looks like this southern line that is definitely contains some gusty winds is moving into Sardis. You're very likely getting some borderline damaging winds in that area there in eastern Burke County. Torrential rainfall is about to start if it hasn't already. We are taking a live scan here with our local radar, so this should be very, very up to date. And so in Sardis, very likely 50, 60 mile per hour winds are in your area, and that does stretch up to the north into extreme western Barnwell County. This is all moving toward Barnwell, so in about 20 to 30 minutes, maybe at most, strong to severe winds will be headed into your area. We do have the one tornado warning up to the north, but let's report some good news here as well. If you're watching from Hepzibah, Waynesboro, Augusta, Evans, Martinez, Thompson, back into Warrenton, you're in the clear at this point as far as these severe thunderstorms are concerned. If you live in South Carolina, basically at this point, down into Jenkins and Screven County in Georgia, this is all headed your way, and everything will be cleared out of the area. It's looking like it may be sooner than 11 o'clock. It is really starting to speed up some, but a lot of damaging winds possible in here. We have seen reports of some power outages, and so far no confirmed tornadoes in the CSRA, but plenty of circulation. Basically, our weather set up right now, just a few thousand feet up in the air. The winds are about 70 miles per hour. Down here at the surface, the winds are about 20 or 30 miles per hour, and that's about 40 to 50 miles per hour of what we call shear, the change in the winds with height, and the winds are also turning with height as well. So again, it doesn't take much with these thunderstorms to mix those 70 mile per hour winds down to the surface and cause some damage, and that is very likely what's going on the case here, as this part of the thunderstorm is moving faster than this part or this part, and that gives it that bow echo, and that's also a sign the wind is faster in that area as well, because the storm moves with the wind. So if the storm's moving quickly, you can bet the winds are also going quickly as well. But this has now moved out of Waynesboro. Our most recent scan there shows the heaviest weather moving into Sardis, and it is headed towards Allendale. So if you live in western Allendale County, western Barnwell County, this storm is headed your way. Can we check in on that tornado warning up to the north and see what's going on with that one?
Most definitely. Let's see here. That's it right there. So still got it going until 7, it looks like. Haven't seen anything from the Columbia chat in terms of cancellation of this. So likely we'll stick with it for the next 5 minutes. Haven't seen anything about them extending it either.
Right.
So if we look at velocity, definitely still, you know, a broad rotation there. So we'll have to see what the National Weather Service is thinking. Great that we're not seeing any debris signatures, Chris, on radar, but we're still with it until at least 7 a.m. it looks like.
That's right, and it does include Aiken and Edgefield County, but only because the border right there is pretty much where the storm is going. It's riding the Aiken-Edgefield County border, so if you live, I would say exit 11, exit 18 along I-20, you are going to be talking about, that's where pretty much that tornado threat is. Very close to I-20 is where that rotation is, just north of I-20 there. And looks like it is crossed over into Aiken County. So if you're watching from Edgefield County, I do believe the thunderstorm that prompted the tornado warning anyway has now crossed over into Aiken County. So if you live in Edgefield County, that tornado warning threat has passed by your area to the east and is continuing to travel east at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. Individual cells are traveling northeast at up to 60 miles per hour. The overall line, though, is advancing to the east.
Chris, we have another tornado warning for Burke County and Barnwell County. That is for that same cell that's been impacting Burke County for about the last hour or so. Let's get some stats on this so we can update our viewers right now. This goes until 7:30 a.m. This is moving northeast at 50 miles an hour, excuse me. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Sardis or 9 miles south of Planet Vogel. So definitely, it says it'll remain over mainly rural areas of Burke and Barnwell counties, including locations such as Girard. So thankfully, according to the National Weather Service, this seems to be a more rural part of Burke County and Barnwell County, but definitely still likely have some people out here. So if you are underneath this tornado warning, especially, you should be seeking shelter right now, especially in the cities of Sardis, Girard, just to name a few spots. Let's see if we can zoom in here, maybe get a few smaller cities to pop up. Looks like Hattieville, just south of South Carolina State Road 125 in Barnwell. This tornado warning does include your area. Rock Fence Crossroads, in any area along Georgia State Road 23 or near Georgia Highway 24 South, Murray Hill as well, I see popping up there. But Girard, you're under the gun right now. So this is a new tornado warning until 7:30, so we will have to stick with that as well until that does expire, Chris.
That's right. And if we can zoom in, can we go over to our WRDW radar and get a live scan of this one? There you see red next to green. That is what you're looking for that circulation, for that tornado warning.
And I'm popping up the Harlem one. This is getting a little bit on the outskirts of our Harlem radar.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We'll see how it looks,
that.
though. Let's see here.
Ooh, zoom in on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is, again, some of the lowest scans that you can get. We have an active icon just outside the warning indicating some rotation that's moderate to high right there with that orangish color, Chris. I know we were looking at those different indexes that the radar has to help us indicate some rotation that it's picking up on, and that's definitely...
I'm looking at this green circle here, too, embedded in that red.
Right.
Definitely some circulation there. What highway is that?
Let's see. That would be Georgia State Road 80, it looks like, just east of Shell Bluff. And this is also going down Georgia State Road 23, heading from northern Burke County into Girard. So I'm going to switch over to correlation coefficient, too, Chris, and look at our Harlem radar to see if we see anything concerning. Again, looking at some of those lowest levels possible. You can only access this information from WRDW because we have exclusive rights to this radar, and it's within our app as well. Hopefully you have that downloaded. But here, just not seeing any evident signs of, a debris signature from our Harlem radar. I'm adding in the rest of our local radars in between the Macon area, Atlanta, Charleston, Greenville, and Columbia. And also, Chris, I don't think that right there is necessarily lining up with the rotation that we see. So I wouldn't say that's super concerning, but it could be some dust being kicked up on the leading edge of that line or something like that that's non-meteorological, but definitely indications of some strong winds there, I would say.
Yeah, and we are. I think our more likely problem is right here in this.
Sorry, I keep moving it.
This little curvature. There's almost like an S shape there trying to form east of Sardis, and that does line up with that tornado polygon as well. It's traveling northeast very quickly. And this will be crossing over into South Carolina in the next 20 minutes or so. That tornado warning until 7:30. That one is headed in the general direction of Barnwell, and it's about 25 minutes away from Barnwell. So if you live in Barnwell, go ahead and be alert. You don't have a warning for your area right now other than the severe thunderstorm warning, which is for the broader line. Severe thunderstorm warnings for this entire line. The tornado warning for one individual cell, very likely somewhere in that little subtle S shape there that is traveling off to the northeast, showing some signs of rotation there prompting that tornado warning. Back to the west, Waynesboro, still under that severe thunderstorm warning. I suspect that one is going to be allowed to expire because obviously everything has passed on to your east. So I do think you're clear from that warning there in the Waynesboro area. Millen, you're almost done with it. It looks like still some very, very heavy rain. But again, the worst wind would be right here in that area. So I do think the worst wind has passed on to the east of the Millen area. If you're watching from Wagner, I don't think this is necessarily a severe bow right now based on what I'm seeing right here, but it is headed your way in the next 5 or 10 minutes. And you could easily see 40 or 50 mile per hour winds, even if you don't get the full 60 to be severe. And farther to the north, it looks like the tornado warning is...
it expired.
That one has expired, and they allowed it to expire, so that is a step in the right direction as well.
Just watching this one closely in Burke County, radar is still giving us, signs of, possible rotation and a possible tornado. Looks like they may have added another tornado warning here. Let's see what they're talking about with this one. This is interesting. Just for Allendale in particular, let me get that back right. So they're saying a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado 7 miles north of Millhaven, moving northeast at 55. So let's switch it back over to reflectivity here. So I'm assuming they're just adding in that section of Allendale to cover that same cell. So just more people under the threat now, including Millet, Martin, Baldock. This would be in Allendale County, northwestern Allendale County, near South Carolina State Road 3 and South Carolina State Road 125. So a couple more people here, Chris, added underneath that.
That's right. And, just to recap, what you need to do, you don't need to panic. You just need to get to a safe place, maybe turn up the volume on your TV, get in the closet or wherever it is you hide during severe weather and listen to us from there. It's not so much what you see that we're talking about, it's what you hear. And you want to be safe. One thing to remember, extra protection during a storm that a lot of folks don't think about, you want to protect your head when you're in a wind situation. So if you ride bikes and you have a bike helmet, go ahead and put on the bike helmet when you get into your safe place. That way you have some extra protection and that kind of thing. The main thing is to be away from windows. Most of the time, if you do just that, you'll be just fine. Furthermore, if you do have a 2-story house, you want to be on the bottom floor, and best yet, if you have a basement, definitely want to be in the basement. As far as what room may be in your house, if your house does have 2 stories, usually underneath that stairwell, there is a closet. That is 9 times out of 10 the best place to be in your house, next to a basement if you do have one. And that's the main thing there. You just want to be prepared and be prepared to take action if you are out ahead of the storm. By watching us this morning, you are doing the right thing.
Most definitely, Chris. I'm going to go through just some safe places to be when we're talking about tornadoes.
Yeah, that's the graphic I was thinking of.
Most definitely.
Just couldn't get to it.
I know. And of course, we know in the CSRA, we don't really have access to basements, but if you do have one, that definitely would be the best place to be if you can get down there. But the idea is to put as many walls in between you and outside as possible. Looks like we have an additional severe thunderstorm warning possibly issued right now, but that's the thinking here, to put as many walls in between you and outside as possible, and just try to eliminate that potential threat from impacts from any tornado that could pass directly over you. Of course, not hoping for that to be the situation for this morning, but if you're inside of those interior hallways, underneath stairwells, those are all good places to be as we do look at some of those green highlighted spots on this graphic. But of course, if you have a basement, that's the best place to be. The idea is to never be outdoors, of course, because that will put you directly in harm's way. But if you're inside of a bathroom, that tends to be a more fortified part of most homes in America. And also an interior closet, whether it's a hallway closet, maybe in your bedroom, that interior hallway as well. If you have a multi-story home, you want to get as low as possible, and being underneath that stairwell may not be a bad idea as well. But the kitchen, bedroom, garage, living room, all typically have an exterior wall directly to outside. So again, you're trying to put as many walls in between you and outdoors as possible. And that bathroom just tends to be one of those more fortified areas in a home. So it is typically safe to be there. But covering yourself with blankets, mattresses for protection, or putting on shoes. Chris was talking about limiting, head injuries and things like that if debris starts to fall on top of you. Never want to take shelter in a mobile home, a vehicle, or under an overpass. If you're in an active tornado warning, and you're in a mobile home, me and Chris also were talking about that. Definitely don't want you to go outside, so it may be best to stay in there if you have no other place to go. But if you have time and you see a tornado-producing cell or a tornado-warned cell heading your direction, definitely may be a good idea if you're in places ahead of the system to possibly get into your safe place or try to get to another home that's not a mobile home if you can. But with that latest warning, it does go until 7:30, so we're just going to stick with this as long as it's still active, and just kind of highlighting that again, portions of Burke County, Barnwell, and then also Allendale County added to this in addition. So both going until 7:30. And rainfall is definitely very heavy with this as well. So the wind threat is definitely also something we're concerned about, even if we don't get a tornado to verify. These storms have a history of producing 60-mile-an-hour gusts as well. So thankfully, I don't think that's a new tornado warning. They may have just trimmed this one as it crosses over into Allendale and Barnwell County. Take a check here of the chat. Don't really see anything too concerning. Charleston is just talking about that warning in Allendale. So we have multiple weather service offices that we're working with in terms of the National Weather Service in Columbia, also in Charleston, South Carolina. Those are the main two that we're watching here closely as these cells are now pushing into South Carolina. But still, some of our southern counties in between Emmanuel, Jenkins, and Screven County. You guys, Johnson County too, not done with that severe threat just yet. So we also have, and again, the thing with this system is that it's pretty complex. I'll walk back out to the wall so I can show you guys what I'm talking about as well. But there's definitely multiple frames of motion with this. So you have a general motion of the system gradually to the east, but you can see some of these cells and batches of rainfall have been traveling from the southwest towards the north and east. So you have a lot of rain that's overrunning or training over the same area. You can also see a batch of severe warned storms just outside the CSRA. That's likely going to clip our southern counties here, and you can see that polygon. These are often oriented in the direction that these cells are traveling. So that polygon definitely has that northerly and easterly tilt to it, and likely we'll see in between Johnson, Emmanuel, Jenkins, and Screven County more of these severe thunderstorm warnings possible. Hopefully we can limit that tornadic threat, but our southern counties really just getting into that severe threat for this morning. The good news for those of us in the central and northern CSRA, for the most part, we are now out of the clear, or we are now in the clear for our severe threat, definitely coming to an end if you're west of this line. But still, some of our northern counties, in particular Saluda and eastern Edgefield, included in a severe thunderstorm warning with the tag tornado possible. And of course, we're watching that cell closely in Burke County right now, crossing over into Allendale and Barnwell, which does have an active tornado warning. So if you have to take shelter, which you should be doing, even if you're underneath a severe thunderstorm warning with that tag tornado possible, we highly encourage you to just take shelter in your safe place because a tornado could definitely spin up very quickly with the environment that we have this morning. But we're watching that tornadic warning cell pushing into Barnwell and Allendale County at this time. So we're going to take a look at velocity here. And our radar continues to indicate some tornadic rotation and possibility here, as you can see with the multiple icons, but the one near Girard, definitely the most concerning, as it does line up pretty good with that difference in air going towards the radar and away. So red indicates air moving away from the radar, green indicates air moving towards the radar, and that's how we identify rotation when we're looking at this relative velocity product here. So this is likely the Columbia radar we're looking at. So this air is moving down and then up where you see the green. But also these brighter colors here indicate winds just above the surface, likely near 60, 70 miles an hour, maybe even 80. And that heavy rainfall is able to help those winds mix down to the surface, which is how we do get those severe thunderstorm wind gusts and some of those strong downdrafts within storms. So definitely still a very fluid situation here. We have to stick with this warning as long as it's in effect, and that is until 7:30 a.m. Not seeing anything else from the Columbia or the Charleston National Weather Service, but Columbia just said the current area of greatest concern is within the tornado warning moving out of Burke County and into Allendale, which is the National Weather Service in Charleston forecast office. That's their jurisdiction in Barnwell County. So right now, that is the greatest concern for the National Weather Service, is this tornado warning cell pushing into Allendale. Taking a look at correlation coefficient, still not noticing anything very concerning possibly some small hail with this, where we see these colors more like yellow and green, just indicating some ice possibly inside of these. And also this red is just rainfall, typically when we're looking at that product. So just trying to see if we're seeing any debris being lofted into the air, which would be non-meteorological debris. But right now, we have about two active severe thunderstorm warnings. We have one down here that's clipping portions of Johnson and Emmanuel County, and again, we'll likely see that cell push into these counties within the hour, so could see a couple of more warnings issued to the south. But right now, our greatest concern continues to be this tornado warning cell pushing into Allendale and Barnwell County now. So Burke County, you're pretty much out of the clear, or in the clear now, for that tornado warning. Your threat is definitely coming to an end in Burke County. Places like Girard, Sardis, Rock Fence Crossing is definitely still a little bit more of a threat there with that heavy rainfall right on top of you. But just continuing to monitor this closely. You got anything, Chris?
Yeah, Mikhail, it looks like we have Max 1 back up and running. So if production can switch us over to Max 1 here, hopefully I didn't catch you off guard, but I do have an interesting perspective because there's a pretty good hook, comma associated with this tornadic warning thunderstorm that has crossed over into South Carolina. That tornado warning does go for Barnwell County and does continue until 7:30. Let's clear that alert off there so you can read. It is moving northeast, they say at 55 miles per hour, and that's going to put this possible tornado thunderstorm into the Barnwell area about 7:29. That's about 17 minutes from now. So you have time, plenty of time to take cover. And looks like based on the trajectory of this storm will head very close to Barnwell, maybe just to the south. Owens Crossroad, if you live in that area, 7:23. So you've got about 10 minutes before this severe thunderstorm. And they have now extended or issued a new tornado warning. Looks like. Pardon me, these come out at us live, so we're reading them on the screen just like you are. So we have to kind of get our act together sometimes when these new warnings do come out. But there's a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible warning issued until 8 o'clock. That one is for Aiken, Bamberg, Barnwell, and Orangeburg County. Again, anywhere you see this dark red, just to the right of it on your screen, that's where these damaging winds are going to be. And right there in northwestern Allendale County is where that possible radar indicated tornado is. And we'll go ahead and clear your screen here for you and put a storm track on that storm as we zoom in here. Right there in the red square near the Millet community, just to the north of Millet, Highway 125, basically between Hattieville and Millet. That's where this rotation is happening. It is headed northeast in the general direction of Patterson Mill. And looks like Baldock, this storm will miss you just to the north. So if you're watching from that area, the storm is definitely making a beeline, it looks like, for Barnwell is really where this storm, right there in that comma shape there that I've highlighted on the screen, it is traveling in the direction of Barnwell. 25 minutes from now, let's see, this heads into Barnwell around 7:33, so 19 minutes from now. Possible tornado or definitely a rotating thunderstorm headed toward the Barnwell area. Tornado warning in effect there that I do believe includes your area. Snelling around 7:28, so 10 to 15 minutes this storm moves into your area. The tornadic part of this thunderstorm is not headed toward Allendale, but the severe thunderstorm part of it, there's still going to be some mighty gusty winds along and ahead of that line of thunderstorms to the south. In fact, I'll put a storm track on here.
And Chris, while you're doing that, just pulling up the warning from the Charleston, South Carolina Forecast Office. Their verbiage on this is moving northeast at 55, located over Millet around 7:12, about 3 minutes ago. Places like Martin, Millet, Averill, and Baldock are in the way of this storm. And their recommendation is to move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a well-built building away from windows. If you are outdoors in a mobile home or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. Heavy rainfall is hiding this tornado, so do not wait to see or hear the tornado take cover now. That's directly from the Charleston National Weather Service Forecast Office. So they are encouraging people to get to their safe place right now. You don't want to be outdoors. You don't want to wait for this storm to get to you because, again, it's rain wrapped. The environment we have, these tornadoes are able to spin up very quickly. So definitely want to make sure that you're already taking shelter well before this cell arrives. So if you're in places like Barnwell and Klein, you have time right now. Snelling, this is pretty much right on top of you. But Hilda, Oler, and Bamberg County, you still have time to get to your safe place. We are nicely asking you to do that right now because this is an active tornado warning, and even for the severe thunderstorm warnings surrounding this, still that tag of tornado possible, as just looking at radar, seeing some of those signs of possible strengthening with even northern parts of this line as well. So going to continue to keep a close eye on this as we do monitor that newly issued warning there, and even seeing a new tornadic icon popping up, looking at what you guys can't see on air right now, near Millet. So definitely a dangerous, life-threatening situation right now. Thankfully, so far, National Weather Service in Columbia confirms that we have no reports of any confirmed tornadoes at this time. But we definitely could see that change as long as these warnings stay active, Chris.
Absolutely, we sure could. And just to give you an uncluttered view of where the watches and warnings are in effect, here we are. I'll bring up the map, and looks like severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for portions of Aiken County, and that tornado warning for southern. Western Barnwell County, the northern tip of Allendale County, that tornado warning until 7:30. The orange on the screen there is a severe thunderstorm warning. That one not being labeled by our computer here because the tornado warnings do take precedence over that. But that one also, I believe, goes until 7:30. So that will be heading off to the east, and looks like a new tornado warning, Barnwell County and Bamberg until 7:45. That one, we'll go back to our radar and take a look at that one. And again, this is all the same thunderstorm. Tornadoes, it looks like this has transitioned into being a supercell type thunderstorm because this is the same cell that's prompted all these warnings going back into Georgia, and we've been on the air now for well over an hour. So this storm has held together and has kept its circulation in place as well.
Yes, and we're definitely still watching other pockets of rotation. Again, if you're under a severe thunderstorm warning this morning, it likely has that tag tornado possible. So even with that, that means that thunderstorm can produce a tornado at any moment. I'm looking at velocity here off air and definitely looking at multiple areas of rotation in between Saluda County down through Barnwell County right now, even outside that active warning for Barnwell, Bamberg, Allendale County. So definitely want to make sure that everyone is still staying weather aware. And again, if you have a severe thunderstorm warning with that tag tornado possible or a actual tornado warning, you should be in your safe place watching us. You can join us on Facebook and digitally through our stream. We have that live right now. Our chief meteorologist, Riley Hill, is on Facebook live right now and streaming live. So if you have to go to your safe place and have to move away from the television, hopefully your cell phone is charged. You can take that with you to continue to get those real-time updates as we're in this real-time situation this morning.
That's right. And there's a look at that tornado warning for Bamberg and Barnwell County until 7:45. I'm going to clear that off our screen here and zoom in on the radar here and show you exactly where that storm is and where it is headed.
Definitely some bowing and, like you said, that S shape to it.
Yeah, that
I'd like to see.
Yeah, you don't want to see that for sure. It definitely has that S shape to it, almost like a hockey puck there on your screen. It is to the north and to the east of Millet, so you are included under the tornado warning, but if you live in Millet, this has passed by to your north and to your east. So you're all clear there in Millet, but in Klein, up toward Barnwell, right along Highway 278, that is not a good place to be right now. At best, we're talking about severe 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. At worst, there could be a tornado in here as well. Again, it doesn't matter what you call wind. wind is wind, and it will damage stuff. As we saw with Helene, that was all straight line winds. We didn't have a lot of tornado activity in our area from that storm. That was just good old-fashioned wind. So a severe thunderstorm with 60, 70 mile per hour winds can do just as much damage as an EF0 tornado. So again, tornado, severe thunderstorm, for all practical purposes, from a safety standpoint, they're all the same. We're not talking about EF4, EF5 caliber tornadoes here this morning, more than likely small EF1 or even smaller tornadoes, but still wind is wind, and it all does damage, and it all is dangerous. This is moving off to the east-northeast. Looks like this storm has made kind of a right-hand turn a little bit. They were moving northeast. This one's kind of turned more to an easterly direction.
Yes.
And they have been traveling very quickly, like I said, up to about 55 miles per hour. So we're going to go ahead and put the storm tracker on this one again. Again, Klein, Olar, Bamberg, possible locations if indeed there was a tornado. This could be headed in your direction. Again, with that bow shape to everything, I can guarantee you there are 50, 60, 70 mile per hour winds out ahead of this. And what you're looking for, the windiest conditions, very well for straight line winds right now headed into Barnwell. You're just ahead of that heavy, heavy torrential rain, and the heaviest wind often comes right before that very heavy rain sets in and the worst of the storm begins. So this storm is moving into Barnwell. The rotation associated with it is still off to your west and southwest, but it is moving very, very quickly. We're talking just a few minutes, and you'll be under the gun there from that possible tornadic thunderstorm. Again, these are radar indicated. So far, we don't have any confirmations of tornadoes. I haven't seen nor has Mikkel, any debris signatures showing up on the radar. But either way, these storms are rotating. Anytime you get that rotation, all it takes is the right updraft, and you get those circulations to make it on down to the ground. And the Weather Service feels, at least based on radar, that could indeed be the case in this storm. Again, moving quickly, the radar screen here shows it just to the east or just to the west of Klein, but as fast as the storm is moving, this storm is getting very close to the Klein area and headed toward Olar, and looks like it could stay south of Bamberg over there in Bamberg County, but either way, too close to call. So if you live in Bamberg, you are under that tornado warning until 7:45. So go ahead and head to your safe place. Put on a bike helmet if you can. Again, if you think of the video you see on TV of tornadoes and such, after a tornado, you can have a lot of debris and stuff. So I know we're just waking up on a Sunday morning. You're probably watching us without your shoes on. Well, go ahead and put some shoes on, or at least have shoes nearby, just in the event that you did have some debris, or hopefully we're not going to have a situation anywhere near that bad this morning. But again, the idea is to be prepared ahead of time. That's why we're on the air. We're not here to tell you what just happened or even what's happening right this second. We're trying to give you as much preparation as we can. And this storm is headed toward Klein and Olar imminently. Just in the past minute or two, notice that storm is already right on top of Klein. So a lot of heavy rain there. And again, I'll draw a little marking here for where we have this circulation here. It's pretty evident, but then again, what's evident to me may not be evident to someone who's not a meteorologist. But inside the green circle there, that little comma shape, just like a comma on a piece of paper, you've got that. It is moving northeast and shows signs of circulation. At best, it is a severe thunderstorm. Definitely a storm you should take seriously. I'll go ahead and zoom out here and see what else we have. And the good news is not too terribly much. As we kind of pan away here a little bit and go down to the south a little bit, we are watching Swainsboro. You'll need to be on the lookout for this line of thunderstorms to your west, moving through Dublin down toward Cadwell. It's traveling off to the east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour as well. And for the folks down that way, I'll put a storm track on here for you. I think these are moving about 35 to 40 miles per hour.
And Chris, I'm noticing even north of that line's trying to fill in as it's moving through our southern counties. And that's the thing this morning, as this threat continues to move south and east, it's honestly going to move into a better environment. We're getting closer to sunrise. A lot of this air hasn't been tapped into for anything yet, so the air is still ripe in our southern counties. And as this system starts to exit the CSRA, still some real concerns for ongoing severe weather as Chris times out that system right there.
I think they just issued a warning for this one, so.
And Glover, if we could switch over to Max or Weather 2 really quickly on air, I did want to show some of these outages that we're seeing across the area right now. In Wilkes County in particular for Georgia. So as you can see here, there we go, getting a more update to look. Wilkes County has about 257 people without power. So they're tracking about 7,220 there. So that's definitely impactful for some, but not looking at a widespread impact. Richmond County, about 114 customers without power. Columbia, about 142. Thankfully, Lincoln County has no outages. Burke County, about 154 people without power. Jefferson County right now reporting about 28 customers out of power. And then Washington County, about 139 customers without power there. Screven County, about 53. So we're seeing some isolated outages, it looks like, across the region. McCormick County, you guys are up to about 671 customers without power. So definitely some impacts there. Aiken, definitely a lot more customers. You can see almost 100,000 customers there, but over 1,000 customers right now without power in Aiken. So definitely some pretty significant numbers there for Aiken County. Thankfully, Allendale, Barnwell, you guys are being impacted right now, so we're not seeing any outages at the moment, but that could change. Edgefield, about 35 customers without power. So we are seeing some issues with power outages on both sides of the river this morning, and could likely see that continue as we head through the next hour or two, as that threat continues to linger in portions of now the southern and eastern parts of the CSRA. So let's take a look here at what we're actively dealing with. Still that tornado warning ongoing for Barnwell County into Bamberg right now. But you can definitely see that line definitely starting to fill in really good, extending north of Columbia now. Columbia just being included in a new severe thunderstorm warning there. And then also seeing areas in between Barnwell down through Millen, Swainsboro filling in. So a lot of rain still moving into central parts and northern parts of the CSRA at this time. It looks like they have trimmed that warning again for Barnwell and Bamberg. So just continuing to trim this as it moves to the east. And we're going to have to watch to see if they try to extend this a little bit further. Definitely still seeing some radar indicated rotation here. Not looking at any evident debris ball. Maybe some hail, though, around Barnwell right now for sure, as the heart of that storm is moving through. So that yellow and green color does line up pretty good with the heart of that storm. So at a minimum, torrential rainfall. At a maximum, could be seeing some hail just under an inch in diameter moving through places like Barnwell and even south of Barnwell, say Haygoods Mill, along that South Carolina State Road 64 corridor and U.S. Road 278 heading down into the city of Yenome in Barnwell County here. So still an active tornado warning. I believe this goes, let's see here, until 7:45. So just want to double check before I say the time. So a little under or a little over 15 minutes left with this as long as they continue this. And again, even for those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, they do have that tag tornado possible. So we are going to stay online, live online and on air as long as we need to, especially with any active tornado warning, which we have one until 7:45. This newly issued severe thunderstorm warning goes until 8:30, so in effect for the next hour here for Aiken County. But we'll likely see that threat pushing out of Aiken County definitely within the hour or less, I would say. So definitely keeping a close eye on things. And I don't know if you have anything, Chris, that you want to share right now.
Yeah, just an update on that thunderstorm. A little more on that. Yeah, that tornado warning definitely continues. It's still got that bow to it, and that curly Q kind of S signature there. I mean, not real hard to pick out the irregular shape of this storm, kind of just doing its own thing right there. And it's right here in this area here where you tend to get that circulation where on the north side, everything's trying to wrap in from the north. On the bottom of the screen, everything's trying to wrap in from the south, and everything kind of circulates around that one indention there to the southwest of Barnwell. And that's what is prompting that tornado warning. Again, we don't have any evidence that there is one on the ground. What we're really seeing here is radar indicated, and this is from the Columbia radar. It is looking, the beam is tilted. It starts out about 100 feet above the ground, but by the time it gets 50 miles away from the radar, it is a few thousand feet up in the air. And the Weather Service is seeing circulation, and we're seeing circulation right here on our products as well, that goes down at least that close to the surface. Whether or not that is actually making it to the ground, we don't have any evidence of that. The correlation coefficient that basically takes a look, raindrops are all pretty much shaped the same way. Well, that product looks at the shape of objects in the sky. It can see bugs, it can see debris, it can see anything. And when stuff is all kind of different shapes, you get a certain signature that'll form over the top of a over the top of a tornado. We call that a debris signature, and we don't see anything like that early on this morning, but we do see plenty of circulation. As I switch over to the velocity product here, that red and that green right next to each other, that is troubling, and that's why they continue this right there in that area is where things are.
And Glover, you can put Max 1 back up for the moment, as Chris is just kind of annotating our graphics here. Definitely a fluid situation, so we'll get that switched out shortly. But Chris just really highlighting. Oh, there you go, Chris, right there.
Okay. You have to pardon me. I'm in front of a computer screen at the moment and can't see what's actually on the air. But this possible tornado thunderstorm, the one that does have a warning until 7:45, will be moving into the Hilda area about 7:41. So in about 10 minutes into Bamberg at 7:55. So about 20 to 25 minutes, this heads into the area. So you have plenty of time to take cover from this storm. At best, it's a severe thunderstorm with very likely winds in excess of 60 miles per hour out ahead of that, but there is circulation in there as well, so there could be an embedded tornado. And we do have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for that whole area. Kind of hard to see here on the screen, but Earhart, southern Bamberg County, is included in that thunderstorm warning that goes until 8 o'clock. So for another half hour or so. Everything, the line itself, the overall big picture line traveling east at about 35 to 40. The individual cells are traveling northeast at 55, and that's what we're using to track these storms. And at that pace, the tornadic thunderstorm would head toward Canaan around 8:01 in about a half hour if it does hold together. Hopefully it won't, but this has held together for quite a while. We've been on the air for about an hour and 15 minutes now nonstop because of tornado warnings from mostly from this same thunderstorm. It does have some of the characteristics of being a supercell, although so far we're not aware of a tornado that has actually hit the ground, but that could change at any moment, and that's why we continue to run with this as if there is an actual tornado. Again, let's go back to the graphic showing you what you need to do, because hearing there's a tornado coming doesn't do a lot of good if you don't take action to stay safe. The main thing, if you live in a house, bottom floor, if you only have one floor, get away from the windows, preferably a hallway or a closet. What I tell the kids when I go out to schools and talk to them is if you can see the tornado, it can see you, so to speak, thinking of a window. So you definitely, if you can see outside, you're not in the best place that you could be. And if your house does happen to have a basement, I know there aren't a lot of basement homes around here, that is the absolute place and the safest place to be. A bicycle helmet, this doesn't get talked about a whole lot, but if you put one of those on to prepare for a storm, again, you're inside your own house. You can do your thing. It does protect your head and keep you extra safe in the event there is debris that was to fall, hit you in the head or anything like that. That's a good idea. You definitely want to put on shoes. And if you have a spare mattress, blanket, anything to keep debris away from you, that is the name of the game, because that is how the majority of tornado injuries and tornado fatalities do happen. So that's what we're talking about. Tornado watch is still in effect. I suspect they'll be updating this in the near future, but it does still include the Augusta metro area back into McDuffie and Warren County until 10 o'clock. Farther east into Bamberg Allendale and Screven County, this tornado watch does go for you until 2 o'clock this afternoon. But as fast as these storms are moving, they are, I do believe, are going to be more than likely out of our area. And you'll see the Storm Prediction Center trim these counties as the storms do start to head out of the area. So for the most part, I do think we're clear of the severe weather threat in Columbia County, Richmond County, and for the large part, Aiken County. And definitely back into Jefferson, Glasscock, and Warren County, things have really improved, although technically that watch is still in effect.
Most definitely, Chris. Definitely still going to continue to watch things as long as we have that watch in effect and active storms in the area. Right now, still have that active tornado warning for Barnwell County. And that's the most concerning portion of this severe threat right now. But you can see still some active warnings with that tag tornado possible. The good news here is that a lot of this weather is starting to exit the region for our South Carolina counties on the east side of the Savannah River. So Allendale, Bamberg, Barnwell, you guys are going to have some of those lingering impacts. But right now, Sally and Aiken County, you guys are definitely being hit pretty hard with some lightning, heavy rainfall, possibly some very gusty winds in between 50 to 60 miles an hour. But there's the area of concern here that Chris is really honing in on, just moving east of downtown Barnwell. So thankfully for downtown Barnwell, that tornado threat is now moved east of you, but definitely still could have seen impacts from heavy rainfall and some wind as that moved through. We'll have to wait and see. But this is now pushing closer to Haygoods Mill, Hilda, Ashley, all in Barnwell County, closing or riding down South Carolina State Road 70, closing in on South Carolina State Road 304, and also to the east of U.S. State Road 278. So if you're in Barnwell County, east of 278, this is definitely in your backyard right now, and you should be in your safe place if you're watching this coverage right now. And you can hear my voice get to your safe place, which would be in an interior hallway closet, underneath a stairwell if you have a multi-story home, or in the bathroom as well. Away from windows and as low as possible with as many walls in between you is the idea here. So Chris drawing out a storm track, and you can see here coming up in the next 20 minutes, Ashley definitely could be seeing impacts in the next 2 really for Ashley, but Lee's in Denmark also could see those impacts not too far away.
Absolutely, sure could. And again, the eastern edge of this tornado warning, so far they have not extended it. That is a good sign. The eastern edge of this, well, actually outside of Lee's. Lee's is not included in the tornado warning. We'll have to see if they do extend this on to the east. But this storm, the circulation associated with it is headed your direction in the next 10 minutes or so. I do see some glimmers of hope that severe weather could be wrapping up and about to exit the area as I take a wider vantage point on the radar. You see how everything, with the exception of what I was just talking about, is kind of a broader yellow and not so much these well-defined areas of intense precipitation and lightning. Hopefully that is a sign things are beginning to transition from severe weather to just some rain-cooled air and steady rain. And that's what we're seeing in Columbia County, Richmond County, even northern Burke County, although down to the south we are still gonna need to watch the southern third of the viewing area very closely. Emmanuel County, you're about to get some rough weather here in just a bit. Louisville, it looks like the severe weather threat is probably south and east of you. Millen, you may still have some pretty good lightning, heavy rain. And you're not completely out of the woods there in Millen, but I'm going to put a storm track on this line of thunderstorms down to the south. There is a warning in effect for this line that mostly excludes our area, but it looks like it could get bumped on and extended into the future here coming up soon. But this line of strong thunderstorms for sure, definitely 40, 50 mile per hour winds along and ahead of that. That will head into Swainsboro in about 15 minutes or so, maybe even not quite that long, 10 to 15 minutes. Twin City, just after 8 o'clock at about 8:12, so about 30 minutes. You're going to get some very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, and some 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts. And even farther out in time than that, around 8:19, 8:20 or so. And still more. Orland, pretty much under the gun right now for some heavy rain and some damaging winds as I put these storms into motion here.
And Glover, you said we had an update on something. What'd you say? outage map. Let's see. We can pull up weather too, and I should still have that up. Let's see here. What y'all notice back there in terms of updates with this outage? Okay. So we're noticing some outages up around the Thurman Dam, and also looking at portions of South Carolina reporting more outages. So there we go, looking at some of those right now. What website is this that we're looking at? So this is Dominion Energy that we're looking at here right now. So it looks like approximately over 1,300 customers without power right now. So definitely some impacts being felt, even if it's not widespread across the area.
And Mikhail, just to notice right there in the North Augusta area over toward where we had that tornado warning earlier, seems to be a concentration of some power outages. So even if there wasn't a tornado, it seems like there's must have been some damage over that way as well. And that was one of the storms that prompted a tornado warning just a little bit ago. We still don't have confirmation of that tornado, but we do have confirmation based on these power outages of some very rough weather in the area.
Most definitely, and that's a great observation right there, Chris, in terms of just looking at that concentration of outages where we did have that tornado warning cell moving through. So likely saw some of those stronger winds mixing down, enough so to cause some of these outages that you can see here. So just kind of zooming in, highlighting some areas. It looks like the Walnut Lane area, which definitely has, I'm a little familiar with that area. I know there's a couple of subdivisions over there.
Yes.
Off of that main road, traveling down highway, what would be Highway 25, but definitely a concentrated area, Chris, that we're looking at in terms of outages in that North Augusta
And that
area.
particular area was hit very hard by Hurricane Helene, too. So there's that's one challenge we run into these days. As much tree damage as there still is around the area, when we do have severe thunderstorms, it's a little tougher to verify if is it new damage or is it old damage. And that area definitely had a lot of tree loss during the storm. But power outages, that is as good of evidence as you can have that there is some new damage that has definitely occurred there in the North Augusta area, right there along the Aiken and Edgefield County border. So if you can safely do so and you have damage where you are, please do snap a photo. You can upload it through our WRDW app through your phone. Again, only if you can safely do so. You're our eyes on the ground. So when you report weather to us, we can report it to the Weather Service, and they're the ones in charge of issuing warnings. So it really helps them out a lot when we can give them some ground truth as to is there a tornado? We've had the warning for a long time. If we knew there was a tornado, or if there had been one, and we had ground truth evidence of it, that just gives forecasters a lot more confidence in issuing future warnings for that storm.
Most definitely, Chris, and I'll pop on the wall here just to talk more about that active tornado warning that we still have in effect here for Barnwell County. Definitely noticing some very evident signs of rotation and also some strong winds here as well. So if we can go back to weather 2 at the wall, that would be perfect, just to show that velocity again and what we're looking at in terms of rotation. That's then look at this active tornado warning that we have here. So you can definitely see right here where you have that quick shift of air going actually towards the radar, where you see green and then away. Anywhere along that line, definitely could see a spin-up tornado briefly here as this continues to move through Barnwell into Bamberg County and then eventually outside the CSRA. Radar is picking up on rotation here as well. I've been watching this northern section of that line, indicating a little bit of a spike in that velocity, some stronger winds moving away from the radar quickly and towards. So going to continue to see if that shows that classic couplet is what we call that, when you have air going different directions quickly right next to each other. That is a classic sign on radar that you have the potential for some rotation in that area. So we're going to continue to watch that closely. I'll switch over to correlation coefficient, which is how we look at if we're seeing meteorological things in the atmosphere or also a potential debris signature. And right now it just looks like we're seeing some heavy rainfall, maybe some smaller hail as this continues to cross over into Bamberg County slowly, but not looking at any evident debris ball, which would be indicated by that bluish to white color, indicating some non-meteorological debris being lofted into the atmosphere. I'll switch over to reflectivity here, looking at radar. which is what a lot of you I know at home are used to looking at, not all the things that us as meteorologists use to look at that tornadic threat. But definitely some improvements in terms of the radar structure of this cell, not noticing that curve back and that evident hook and notch. Still a little bit of a bowing here. So on the leading edge of this, definitely can still see those winds up to about 60 miles an hour. And there we go, just clearing out that tornado warning that we did have in effect for Bamberg and Barnwell counties. So keeping a close eye on that, but Chris, looks like...
Yeah, Mikhail, we do have this one's just outside the viewing area, but it is to the west of Swainsboro, and it is headed in that direction. Probably south of Swainsboro, this storm may stay there in Emmanuel County, but a tornado warning just issued for this thunderstorm off to the west for portions of Lawrence County and into Trutland County as well. And this storm traveling east at about 30 miles per hour. So I'm going to go ahead and put a storm track on this because, again, it is definitely a strong thunderstorm and definitely could affect the Swainsboro area, especially if it does drift to the north. This storm will move...
And you can pull up weather.
Yes, if we can go back to max 1, weather 1, that would be great. Yeah, there it is. I'm sorry. Put a storm track on that. And this is a tornado warning that goes until 8:15 for Lawrence and Trutland County. Emmanuel County, you know, that is the county back to your west. And this is moving east toward your area. And we'll move into Orland about 7:52. Gillis Springs, 8:13. Nunez 8:31. And into the Gary community about 8:37. So we're talking that is a pretty good ways down the road. But again, tornado warnings just to your west, that's never a comforting feeling. And one of those just issued by the National Weather Service headed toward Gillis Springs and Gary there in extreme southern portions of our viewing area, just to the south of Adrian, and headed toward southern Emmanuel County, just to the south there of Swainsboro. That's a tornado warning until 8:15 this morning.
Yes, sir. And just continuing to track those trends closely. It looks like the Weather Service in Peachtree City, which is Atlanta, they're saying that they issued that tornado warning out of an abundance of caution, some vertical consistency to the rotation, and it seems to be right along where the outflow from 2 other storms were. So we could see some rain. Basically, they're talking about rain-cooled air pushing out from previous storms, kind of enhancing this storm, that they have that warning on just outside the area. And even looking outside of that, Chris, if you expand that view, they have a warning just outside the sea, is already pushing towards Columbia. So,
well, we just had a brand new warning issued, severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible. So it has that tornado label that now includes Emmanuel, Johnson, Montgomery, and Trutland County. So Emmanuel County definitely in our viewing area, Swainsboro. We love the folks down that way. I think most of this will stay in and just to the south of Swainsboro, but that's the tornado part of it. The severe thunderstorm part could make it definitely into the Swainsboro area. Severe thunderstorm is issued. Warning is issued when winds exceed 58 miles per hour. Basically, about 50 knots is what we're looking at. That's how you get the oddball number of 58 miles per hour. But basically, 60 mile per hour winds are greater in a severe thunderstorm. That tornado warning issued just a few minutes ago that is technically still back to the west of you there in Emmanuel County. But that is certainly something we need to keep a very close eye on. Just to give you an easier to read look at these warnings. There's that tornado warning until 8:15. That one just outside the News 1226 viewing area. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 8 o'clock. So for about 12 more minutes, mainly for eastern Barnwell, Bamberg County, and the eastern tip of Aiken County. All of Emmanuel County under that new severe thunderstorm warning that I believe goes until 8:30 as that storm moves off to the east at about 30 miles per hour.
Yes, and just to look at that, with that newest warning, definitely some 60-mile-an-hour gusts. Locations impacted include Garfield, Lothair, Twin City, Covina, Adrian, Cedar Grove. Modoc, Canoochee, Stillmore, Rockledge, Norristown, Barnhill, Delwood, Zadie, I would say, Nunez, George L. Smith State Park, Gillis Springs, Landsberg, Oak Park, and Orland. So all places mainly in Emmanuel County. So if you're familiar with any of those cities that I just listed, you are under the gun right now for a severe thunderstorm warning with the tag tornado possible. So you want to treat this as a tornado could happen at any possible moment. The National Weather Service goes on to say remain alert for a possible tornado. Tornadoes can quickly develop from severe thunderstorms, and you want to make sure that you're already in a central room inside of a sturdy structure, or your basement if you have one, before this storm gets to you. So you have time now in Emmanuel County to do so, as this is just crossing over from Johnson County into Emmanuel County near the Adrian portion of Johnson County, along that Johnson County and Emmanuel County border there. So this goes until 8:30 a.m. and this storm is moving northeast at 45. So these storms have been moving in between 45 to 60 miles an hour, so definitely moving very quickly, but still having an impact for sure as they pass through.
And yeah, this line of severe weather will be headed into Swainsboro in about 10 to 11 minutes. Honestly, not that long, probably 5 to 10 minutes, because it's along and ahead of where you see the rain on the screen that the downdrafts from those strong thunderstorms do come crashing down to the ground. So oftentimes the heavy rain hasn't even truly begun before those damaging winds do move in ahead of the thunderstorm when your gust front comes on into the area. Twin City, about 8:19. You've got about 30 minutes or so, 25 to 30 minutes, let's say, into Twin City. No tornado warning for Emmanuel County at this time, but there is that tornado warning just to the west that will be passing south of Adrian. But if you happen to be watching and you live in Adrian, I do think that is going to be missing your area just down to the south.
Most definitely, and just keeping an eye on the chats in between Columbia, Charleston, and even Atlanta now. Yes, they canceled that warning, or they said they're going to cancel the warning soon for that tornado warning just outside of Emmanuel County, as the rotation is already weakened and it's gone. So that's some positive trends there, and hopefully we can keep that the case as it passes through mainly Emmanuel County, it looks like, and maybe portions of Jenkins County too, coming up here in the next 30 minutes to an hour. So keeping a close eye on that southern part of this system, especially looking at that severe threat slowly moving out of our central and eastern counties. But interestingly enough, you can definitely see some of that heavy rainfall still building northward towards Augusta, noticing some pops of lightning as well. So the system, again, has a couple of different frames of motion moving north and east, but also moving due east as well. So that more north and east movement is allowing a lot of rainfall to go over the same areas. You can see in between southern parts of Burke County, south of Waynesboro, a lot of heavy rainfall going over the same areas. So continuing to watch out for a low-level flood threat as well, even outside of those severe storms. But most importantly, again, that possibility of a tornado, even with those severe thunderstorm warnings, very real. And this is now entering where Chris is zooming in between Barwell and Bamberg. You guys are still under the gun right now.
Yeah, it looks like definitely some severe level caliber winds right there along Highway 301 as you come out of Bamberg and you head south toward Olar and toward Ulmer there in Bamberg County. This is straight line winds. We're not talking about a tornado threat. For the majority of our viewing area, however, it looks like, especially along in north of I-20, your severe weather threat is pretty much done at this point. You're in the clear across Columbia County, back into Warren County, McDuffie County, even down into Glasscock County. The severe threat has now passed on to your east. Augusta, North Augusta, Edgefield, Aiken, you're in the clear. We're talking about Barnwell down toward Allendale and the southern, basically the border counties of our viewing area. So Barnwell, Allendale, Bamberg, Jenkins, Screven, and Emmanuel County. These are the counties we are watching very carefully. We're coming up on 8 o'clock now. I'd imagine within the next hour, certainly 2 hours, the storms will be out of the area. And in the Augusta area, the rain will be out of the area, and we'll probably have mainly dry weather for the rest of the day. I know we have been keeping an eye out for a secondary round of storms to possibly develop later on today, but that's looking less and less likely that is going to be happening.
Which will be very good. We definitely want to get through this and hope that we can enjoy the rest of our day peacefully. Definitely looking a little bit breezy behind this system. We have a late wind advisory in effect for a couple of our central, northern, and eastern counties through 8 p.m. tonight for gusts up to 40. But right now, still looking at that active severe threat primarily in southern and eastern parts of the CSRA. You can see that cell definitely pretty healthy, pushing towards Swainsboro, even some where you see that white on radar indicating some possible hail. And we're noticing some uptick in that lightning just a bit. So all signs of this strengthening a little bit as it's pushing into Swainsboro right now.
All that said, they have dropped the tornado warning.
Good.
So that's some good news. We don't want that as it continues traveling east into Swainsboro. But again, wind is wind. It doesn't matter what the cause is. If it's 60, 70 miles per hour, whether it's an EF0 tornado or it's a severe thunderstorm, it all does the same thing. So we definitely want to take both of these seriously. And most of these severe thunderstorm warnings have been labeled with that tornado possible tag. And the reason they do that, there's an awful lot of shear in the atmosphere. We have winds a few hundred feet up in the air, or a few thousand feet up in the air that are up and over 70 miles per hour. If you go even higher than that to our jet stream, I saw where the winds are upwards of 140 miles per hour, pretty much up where the airplanes fly. And when you do get a circulation, the winds are turning with height. It doesn't take a whole lot to bring those very, very gusty winds from up high all the way down to the surface. To give you an idea, on a normal sunny weather day, the winds at 5,000 feet may be about 20 miles per hour. So we're talking 70 miles per hour is definitely a lot of wind energy, very low down into the atmosphere. And as these thunderstorms develop and dissipate and redevelop, it's actually that decaying, dissipating stage that the winds come crashing down to the ground, and you get your severe winds as these storms continuously regenerate and continue moving on to the east. But if you're watching from Swainsboro right now, you more than likely are seeing some 40, 50, 60 mile per hour winds, and that's why that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. Soperton getting definitely some heavy wind. You're about to be getting a whole lot of rain. We haven't seen a lot of hail with these thunderstorms. I haven't gotten any reports of large hail for sure. A good bit of lightning, but wind and tornadoes have been the main issue. And we don't have reports here in the CSRA anyway of a confirmed tornado. And what this kind of tells us is that if there is a tornado, it hasn't been a large one like they had back in Alabama. So we're not talking the catastrophic tornado threat. It would be the EF0, maybe EF1 caliber tornadoes that we're more familiar with in our area. I know in the past few years, especially over there in Allendale and Bamberg County, we have had some of the larger tornadoes. And I know a lot of folks over there are probably very sensitive. We're talking about a risk of mainly your smaller tornadoes. And again, it doesn't make much of a difference what the cause of the wind is. If it's a 70 mile per hour wind, you need to hide, you need to get to your safe place and stay away from the windows. But right now, nothing like that is going on. For the first time in a long time, we are without a tornado warning. So,
Yep.
Mikkel,
I know.
Do we actually sign off, or do we?
I'll look at one more thing. Glover, if you could pull up Weather 2 at the wall really quickly. I just wanted to point out some rotation that I was seeing still within this cell for Emmanuel County. So we're definitely going to hop off air until we hopefully may not get another warning, but if we do, we'll hop back on. But just watching this part of the cell right here pretty closely, still looking at some wind moving away from the radar or towards the radar here with that green and away from the radar. So we're looking at the Macon radar site here. So towards would be actually to the south and away north, but definitely not as organized as it was earlier, very broad, but we're going to keep a close eye on that. But I do think, Chris, unless you have anything else to say, we can go ahead and get back into maybe our morning programming or just toss this to break until we may have to cut back on air if that's possible.